In this video I'm going to install my new water top-off system. It's by a company called Autoaqua. It's the Mato 200P. In the box we have a very small water pump with an impressive 2 meter max head height. We also have a small connector to stop water siphoning back out of your tank again. We have two sensors, one's for inside your fish tank and the other one is for inside your RO water drum. This holds your unit inside the tank. There's a hole for the sensor and there's a hole for the water inlet. That's a water gland that stops your water tube sliding about. Your power supply. There's a length of tubing, and you also have two extending tubes. These are rigid tubes, one of which will hold your sensor. The guidebook does have most of the information you need to know, along with diagrams. It has installation help for the Mato 100P and also the 200P. The 200P is the one I'm using. It has two sensors. Be aware, if you're fancying the 100P, it only has one sensor, therefore your water drum won't have a sensor, and in theory you could burn out the pump if you run dry. So this is a rough idea of how it's set up. The water pump will be inside the drum. It'll have a hose connected to it. Your sensor will also be inside the drum. The hose will go all the way into the main display tank. The sensor inside the tank is going to be held by one of the plastic hard pipes. This is to make sure it's always got a consistent water level to monitor. You'll put the rigid tube into the bracket for the tank. It goes in the smaller hole. The bigger hole's for the black connector, which you put the tube from the RO drum into. If you cut a small length of tube out, this allows you to fit the siphoning stopper in. The rest of the tube then goes right down to your RO drum. Just to show you the little holder for the unit, it can be pulled out and then it can go upright or on the side depending on how you want to fix it to your tank. Once you've built the unit, it should look something like this. The water sensor inside the tank, your cable needs to be going upwards out of the tank. Get this the right way around. Also, your water inlet pipe should be above your water level of your tank and also above your tub of RO water. This is to stop siphoning issues. The sensor in your RO container, make sure the lead's going downwards, not upwards like your fish tank. And for some reason you're left with one of the plastic tubes. I think this might be to extend the other tube should you need that sensor to be lower in the tank. Your power supply has the three connectors. The two black ones are for the sensors, the red ones for the pump. So once it's all connected to your tank, this little screw bit, that's to adjust the height of your water sensor in the fish tank. A little fiddly to begin with, but it soon gets quite easy to move. And you can see there's one really annoyed clownfish. Yep, vicious fish. I'm sure she'll love having a water pump right next to her home by the wave maker. So moving on to the RO drum side of it, this is a 15 litre RO drum I use. It's got a very similar neck to a 25 litre one. Not going to lie, it was a bit of a squeeze fitting the pump in. I had to bend the pipe, but it did fit. It will come out again also. When I was trying to get it out, the little tube came off and it did pull out, no problem. What I noticed though is inside the drum, the curve on the pipe meant that everything was at an angle, including the sensor, and that's not really ideal for the job it's intended. So I got the spare rigid tube and the little screw connector. I put a bit of rubbery pipe on it and I put it all back into the tub again. It did sit a bit straighter in the drum, but I do feel it's needing a little bit more looked at, and I'm going to see if I can devise something a little better for it. Finally, all that's left to do is make sure everything's right. Plug your connectors in. That's the two black ones for the sensor, the red one for your pump, and turn it on. Now learn from my construction. As you can see, my pipe's a little high putting the water into the tank, so it's causing quite a stir going in. You might want to extend that pipe a little bit. I cut it too short, but I'll fix this after the video is done. It does all seem to work quite well. I have to say, it's quite a nifty little gadget. It's so simple, but so effective. The centre of the sensor seems to be the point at which it stops and starts the water. I've definitely cut my pipe too short. It's causing the dreaded micro bubbles and it's a lot of disturbance, so cut yours a little bit longer, but remember it has to be above the top water level. Looking at the RO drum side of it, again the safety feature is definitely there. I do recommend getting 2 sensors, so if that runs out of water, the sensor will stop the pump from working and there will be no damage done to the pump. After a day of the auto top up being in use, I can see that when it's on, it only lasts maybe 2 seconds, puts a little bit of water in and off it goes again. It's pretty quiet and it does the job well. So there we have it. It's the Autoaqua Mato 200p. I think for £50 it's a pretty great system.